Hey everyone, hope you're having a wonderful day. We are back at my gun bench here in my garage, and I wanted to discuss the 5 things the average gun owner should be purchasing or initiating prior to buying more and more firearms. So outside of owning, in my opinion, your pistol that you train with and carry with every day, along with an AR-15, anything more than that, you should be tackling these 5 things first before doing so. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Number 1 is eliminating any sort of high compounding interest that's working against you. This means credit cards. You guys need to pay off your credit card debt. The average person here in America is more than $10,000 in credit card debt, which is absolutely insane. These are interest rates that are 20% or above. There's no way you possibly can build wealth and be financially independent by doing that. And so over the past few years that I have been in the gun industry, consuming the same content that you are consuming, I have overheard people discussing how they put night vision on credit cards. Unbelievable, guys, unbelievable. So number 1 is paying off high interest rate debt. Typically that is your credit card debt. There is no way you can be financially independent with high interest rate debt. I'm aware there are other forms of debt out there. However, in my opinion, this one seems to be the most crippling. And so number 1, before purchasing more and more guns or more equipment, more and more gear, you should be paying off your high interest rate debt. All right, number 2 is having a 6-month emergency fund that is in liquid cash. So this is either in a money market account or a high yield savings account. It's earning just enough interest to outpace inflation, but is easily accessible. So money market accounts, high yield savings accounts, 6 months worth of your bare expenses. So when trying to identify what is 6 months worth of expenses, these are going to be your hard, immediate, you need it to survive. So paying your mortgage, paying your light bill, buying food, putting gas in the vehicles. Outside of that, it does not count towards your emergency fund. So the spending money that we budget every month, you would not include that, because if an emergency happened, you would not be doing those activities. And so outside of paying your mortgage, your basic needs and necessities, putting gas in the car, paying for health insurance, things like that, guys, add that up for 6 months and you should have that readily accessible in either a money market account or a high yield savings account before you purchase any more gear, better guns, upgrading this optic, upgrading this pistol, upgrading this rifle, improving your suppressor, buying more ammo. You should be focusing on building a 6-month emergency fund. All right, number 3 is at least maxing out your Roth IRA. So there are many different components when it comes to investing. However, this one is one of the best tax advantage accounts, and you should absolutely be maxing out your Roth IRA before purchasing any more guns or trying to flex on Instagram in regards to the scope that you own, the suppressor you own, how many rounds you shoot per year. So as of 2025, the max contribution for a Roth IRA for an individual is $7,000 annually. If you make more than the income limit, so there are income limits when it comes to contributing to a Roth IRA. There are ways around it, one of which is a backdoor Roth IRA. So if you make over a certain amount, you need to do a backdoor Roth IRA, which is essentially dumping money into a traditional IRA and then rolling it over to a Roth. At that point in time, you will invest $7,000 lump sum into the account. That's what my wife and I do because we are over that income limit. However, if you're not over the income limit, you don't need to worry about that. All you need to do is invest $7,000 divided by 12 and invest that monthly until you max it out for the entire year. This is something you absolutely should be doing prior to buying more and more guns. All right, number 4 on the list, and this, I would say this list is in no particular order. This is just the list that I wrote things down in. But number 4, I would say, is having a life insurance plan. This is outside of work. So some people's employers will pay for life insurance. However, if you end up leaving that job, get fired from that job or laid off, and you forget to purchase life insurance elsewhere and something happens to you, your family is stuck. And so you should be purchasing life insurance outside of your employer. That way it's something that you know you will have regardless of whether or not you are employed. You pay this monthly. It doesn't cost that much money, guys. It's the price of a box of pizza. So I think for my wife and I, combined, we pay maybe $83 a month for both her life insurance policy as well as my life insurance policy. In terms of how much money you should be taking out, I would say roughly 10 years worth of your annual income. So take your annual income, if that's $50,000, you multiply that by 10, and that's how much life insurance policy you should be taking out on a term life insurance policy. Not universal life insurance, not whole life insurance, term life insurance. That is the 4th thing. Again, it doesn't need to necessarily be number 4. It could be number 1 or number 2. You need a life insurance policy. Don't have all the Gucci guns. You have the LMTs, the Geisleys, and you don't even have a life insurance policy. Just that way, if something happens to you, your family is taken care of. That is not the correct order you should be doing things. All right, number 5, guys, is paying off your mortgage early. So once again, in my opinion, there's no reason I should be buying more guns, accumulating more and more gear, and I'm not at minimum attempting to pay off my mortgage early. No one wants to have a 30-year mortgage where we're finally paying it off when we're 68 years old in retirement. Your goal should be paying that off a lot sooner. And so even if it's $200-300 a month extra, guys, rather than upgrading the trigger in your rifle or your pistol that you already shoot fine, you can take that $200 for that month and invest it into your mortgage. That way you pay off your mortgage much sooner. So if you pay an extra payment per year on your mortgage, you're already going to drop the mortgage by 9 years, I believe it is. I got to do the calculations again in my mind. But anything extra that you can contribute absolutely will put you on the right track, guys. So those are my 5 tips. It doesn't necessarily have to be in that order. Pay off all of your high interest debt. Invest into your family in terms of buying life insurance. That way they're taken care of if anything happens to you. Making sure you have 6 months worth of an emergency fund in cash that is easily accessible in either a high yield savings account or a money market account. Maxing out at minimum your Roth IRAs, guys, $7,000 a year as of 2025. And number 5 was paying off your mortgage early. So no longer we're doing the 30-year mortgage where we're going to pay the minimum amount and then blow all the money to where we still have a mortgage in retirement. We are going to set goals on paying this off as soon as possible, so we are not going into retirement with a mortgage, number 1, and number 2, we are not paying the bank more and more interest than they need. That's all I have for you guys. We're signing out.